All right, it's all coming together, isn't it? We had that close on Friday where we closed unchanged. We rallied a bit on Monday, yesterday, that was predicted. Tuesday today, a bit more of a rally, but well, at some point, it opened higher, but we've closed red. Is the rally over? Yeah. I always thought you'd have a bit of a bounce early this week, and then we would collapse, basically, to put it nicely, which I think is what's going to happen, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Jackson Hole, whatever. I don't care about the news. I don't care about NVIDIA earnings. I think yields trump all of that stuff. I think banks are fragile. I think we've heard, Charles Schwab, for example, there are some rumors of some banks, facing tough times, and I think they are facing tougher times now than before. The debt is bigger. Inflation in reality, in my opinion, is worse. Yields are going up. They're actually higher than where they were before. You know, it's just nothing's changed. It's just getting worse. The same old story. And I don't think it's capable of being hidden anymore. Either you kill inflation by raising rates and keeping rates very high, higher than people think, higher than the market thinks, or you let inflation run out of control, at which point, the price of everything goes up, especially gold, and the dollar tanks, and then you have a currency crisis. Anyway, let's look at the market. So S&P red, everything was red. We opened nice and high. We closed red. I think we're just going to roll over, nice and simple. Look at the Nasdaq, opened higher, much higher, closed just about red. That's a lot of NVIDIA. Just the hype, you just got to kill the biggest hype of the day, and then it all just fumbles. And I think it's what's going to happen. Remember, Wednesday, tomorrow, is it after the close? I think it's after the close, not pre-market. After the close, NVIDIA has earnings. I think even if they have good earnings, it's just going to come down. You know what? It might be worth looking at NVIDIA very quickly, because that really is half the Nasdaq. Look at this, open right here, retesting the ascending. So that's resistance just on that, but also more importantly, probably the all-time high over here, 480. Opened at the high, closed today at, they were really defending 454 at the close, but that for me is not the most bearish engulfing candle, but that's a pretty big sort of you shall not pass candle. And tomorrow it'll probably drift sideways, nothing too crazy, bit of volatility towards the close. Some people already know the results of the earnings. There's always insider trading. They always get away with it. But I'm holding my short, and I wasn't happy about it yesterday. But if it's bad, then it should come all the way down. It should just flush. I mean, it should just close. Who knows? It could be even. Is that ridiculous to say below 400 if there's bad news? It could happen. And then then forget it. Put a fork in the market. If it's good news, I don't even know. I think it'd be sold into. If I think smart money would sell into that. Okay, so let's get back to the Nasdaq, right? Closed pretty much unchanged, but let's see what happened. We saw what happened to NVIDIA. The markets were much higher, closing the low of day. For me, it's the right shoulder. We're just creating the right shoulder. It'll slowly come down. I know we have news, PMI, and home sales and Jackson Hole, but whatever. I still think we're coming down. Dow Jones, look at that. Look at the Dow Jones. Anyone pick that up? Close low of day, horrible close, suggests it wants to go down to the ascending, at which point we may have a little mini bounce intraday, maybe one day, and then see you later back down here, 33,500, at which point we lose the ascending support. We are starting to lose support in some of these. Look at the Russel, look at the close. This is the first time we close below the ascending. I mean, this one here, fine, we opened way below it, but we closed well into it. That was a nice candle, and it opened on this support here. That was nice. Here, what happens tomorrow? We probably roll over. Watch the close below 180. That for me is the line in the sand. So, and it's always, Russell and Dow were always the weakest ones when things were going down, and they rallied late, so they had a bit more strength at some point. Just very late on, they held on a bit more than the S&P, but on the way down, they are the weakest links. So let's recap. S&P, create the right shoulder, flush, mini bounces on the way. We have the support zones. They'll have a little bounce now and then, but it's all about the right shoulder for me. Nasdaq, right shoulder. Dow Jones, to ascending support. We're waiting for the close below ascending support. Russell, it's closed below ascending support today. They're all going to drag each other down. Look at the banks. Look at that horrible candle, close at low of day, lower than any other close so far. That's the XLF, by the way. That's the seniors, right? Where's that going next? Straight back down to 32.50, in my opinion. Charles Schwab, all of them, Citi, HSBC, they're all toast. They're all on all these derivatives and debts and exposure to the commercial real estate and housing and loans and blah, blah, blah. Forget about it. KBE, these even weaker. Where are we going? 35 in one go? Yeah, actually, not in one day, but pretty much in a straight line, I reckon. Let's see what happens. We've got this gap to fill, 37, so we'll probably hit 37 straight away tomorrow. I mean, look at this. This is literally close at low of day. The 3-minute chart, my favorite. Look at that. That's low of day close. That suggests time, time run out, saved by the bell, literally. KRE, exact same chart, even got the same gap. We'll see what happens. But to me, we're just going lower and led by the banks, interest rates going up, sending the banks down, sending the Russel down, sending the Dow down. The Nasdaq's just waiting for NVDA to just collapse on it. And then that's the whole S&P and Nasdaq down, because NVIDIA is part of the S&P. So it's always the same Magnificent Seven. And they've lost critical support. So markets are not looking good. I know they're not down over 1%, but today was a very significant day for me. Schwab, look at that. I mean, some of these bank stocks, I don't want to waste your time, but okay, HSBC, not so much, but look at Citi. Look at that. You zoom out. Oh, wow, that's impressive. You zoom out a bit more. Bam, what do you get? Never really recovered from 2008. Look at this. We closed below 40, which is a nice big number. According to my little trend line, which I haven't gone over in months, that's pretty much the end of that. And that's Citi. Schwab, okay, that's got a long way down to come, but that can do it in 1 or 2 weeks. One of these, something's going to happen. Deutsche Bank. I don't know. Place your bets. Deutsche Bank, Citi, Schwab, or just one of the thousands of smaller banks that I don't know about. All right, let's look at yields. Yields. Anything changed? Nope. Closed the high of day, closed above 5%. I'm looking at the 2-year. The 1 year is not really relevant still. I still think we're going to hit 5.5 at one point and then just run. But let's look at the 2-year, which is the Federal Reserve's, main benchmark. There we go. Closed above 5%, done. We did that yesterday, actually. Now just more continuation. You close the high of day. Next is 5.1. Once we close above that, that's it. There's no sky's the limit. 5-year, we're there. We're at the absolute bear market high. Triple top breakout. Tomorrow, see you at new highs. See you at 4.5% close tomorrow or higher. 10-year, we're there. We're just there. 30-year, already done. Just time to retrace, and it's just going to go higher. Yields are going up. And the others are all the same. They're all just flagging sideways at their absolute highs. So yields have already given the signal. We've seen that coming a long time ago. Dollar index. This was interesting. It was down early on, and then it reversed. And now we are, to be honest, we're still at resistance. I know we closed above this horizontal, but for me, there are several resistant points. They all coalesce pretty much where we are. You can see it's just a real traffic jam over here. And that's why, for me, to really signal that it's cleared my resistance points, you've got to close above 104. Because then, if I got it wrong by 1 or 2 millimeters, I don't think it's that wrong that, I missed it there. So at 104, it's definitely cleared all three. Then you've still got 104.5. But I still think closing above 104 is very significant. That suggests you cleared serious resistance. And 104.5, yeah, it will hit it, go down a little bit, the usual reaction to the next trend line. But I think clearing 104 is more important than clearing 104.5. So let's see if it gets to 104. It was the best close so far, but I still have my doubts. This could be a head fake. We're still at resistance. So I did expect it to roll over already. Hasn't done it. But I don't think the game is over for the bears. Let's put it that way. All right, let's look at commodities. Copper, nice move. Nice move despite the dollar being up, despite markets being red. So that's impressive. But now we've retested what I think is still valid support. In this case, resistance. It was support. I know it sort of broke it here, but it recaptured it quickly. And to be honest, it's still been working even after we broke it here. So I still think this is kind of resistance. Let's see, it's not the craziest asset to watch at the moment, but you know, still 1% is decent for the dollar being up and for the markets being down. Usually something that would together guarantee copper being red. Natural gas, again, retesting the descending. At least it's not closing below it and then re-entering this, but I'm not impressed by the lack of bulls here. I would have expected after a big retracement, which it's known for doing recently, but I would have expected still already by now a retest of this and basically just closing above 2.75 and running to 3. So not happy with natural gas today, but it's still not out of, you know, it's still not guaranteed to basically close below 2.5. That's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see close below 2.5. It's almost done it once or twice, but we still live to fight another day there. Oil, yeah, sideways. You know, I was saying this is a nice move. We called this move, retraced to 79. That was nice. Called that. The bounce from 79. Yes, called that. Now, what do I say? I say that it depends on the markets. Depends how oil reacts to the dollar and the markets. And to be honest, dollar's looking strong. Oil's market's looking weak. Suggests oil going down. I say 74. You know, imagine the market starts to collapse. I think oil has to come down with the markets. The demand for oil will be lower, and that should be enough to send the market, the price of oil down. And remember, we've come all the way from the 60s, you know, so coming down to 75 is not the worst. It's a healthy retracement. So I think we'll go down to 75 just because I think the markets will go lower. Uranium, incredible stuff, still wants to go to 24, and once it goes to 24, it'll go higher. It'll go much higher. So uranium, and the case for uranium, you know, whether it's Europe, Japan, whatever, uranium just has to go up. So it's probably one of the best trades to be in medium to long term. And right now it's proving one of the best short term. So uranium, impeccable stuff, especially compared to everything else. Gold and silver, you know, during early on, especially when the dollar was down, gold was very nice. It was above 1900, lost a bit of ground, dollar went up, but still a green day nonetheless. You can see how gold is really curling here. It's not the best close. We gave up a lot of gains. Silver, on the other hand, I mean, silver is really strong. You know, if you equate that to gold, it's kind of in the 40s or something. And I was thinking, if gold does get to 40, and I still see 1940 as the resistance, the next real resistance to gold on the way up. If gold gets to 1940, which is from where we are now at the close, you know, 2% higher, that would be the same as silver being around 24.5. And then what? Imagine gold starts to go towards 1980. That means silver, honestly, would be pretty much at 26. It would have already taken out 25. So if we do have a very big run in gold, silver is going to definitely lead the pack. And that means, to be honest, that if gold starts to run for 2000, silver is going to be in the 27s, 20. I mean, that will be super bullish. I don't think gold will have a problem making new highs the way silver's reacting at the moment. Now, who knows, gold could catch up, but normally on the way up, silver really outperforms. So I'm very impressed by silver with its sort of defensive strength, let's say. Gold, though, it's just, I mean, you saw early on, you know, what it looks like when the dollar goes up. Gold loses its shine quite quickly. And you can definitely see how gold could just, imagine one big red candle tomorrow. You know, one of the data releases or Fed speak, whatever, you know, don't discount that gold can go to 1860. That's really, really, really possible. And then obviously you can imagine what the dollar's doing. The dollar index is a 104, 104.5, and that's it. Now people are talking about 110, 120, and you think, oh my God, gold's going to go all the way down here, maybe even lower. And you know what, even if it does go here and even lower, it's still bullish. You still zoom out, it's still a bullish case. But you wouldn't really want it to crack 1800. That would be pretty damaging, and it would take time to recover that kind of a chart. On the other hand, if gold starts to pump, like I said, silver is going to make it so strong. I think silver's just going to be the savior, not just for a couple of days, but the whole cycle coming up here or something, the new highs cycle. So, but anyway, for now, short term, look, we have closed above this descending. It is curling. It's not the best close, but let's see what happens tomorrow. And it depends on the dollar index. But gold, pretty decent. Silver, very decent still. Let's look at the miners. Miners, the best looking candles. I mean, it's kind of a subtle bullish candle. You don't really notice it. The whole day was sort of sideways, not really doing much. But by the close, look at that. Perfect candle. GDX closing a high of day. Really nice looking stuff. Look at that. Closing a high of day. This, by the way, whilst the banks are closing a low of day. Remember that? Banks low of day. Miners, or in particular the metals high of day. We may have a inverse correlation to the banks, and that's perfect, because if the markets start to collapse and gold and the miners start to go up, amazing. Who cares what the dollar does? And in fact, it'd be even better if the gold and silver go up with the dollar and the miners, because then what happens when the dollar goes down? Then you really take off. So this could be amazing. We could have gold, silver, and the miners, one of the only areas of green whilst the market collapses. That's very, very promising stuff, and that's what happened last time. So these candles are beautiful. Like I said, for me, GDX first resistance is 29. And then from there, you see it's probably 30, big round number. We never really cleared it here. After that, we'll see, is this really one on the way up? Maybe not. It depends. You'd have to look at gold and silver at that point. But for me, 29.30, let's just do a big sort of, so I can see this one. I'll delete for now, keep it simple. But that's the first resistance on the way up for GDX. GDXJ, I drew this line, but I left the target because I knew that it doesn't take much to get there. And look, we haven't even started our rally, and GDXJ is already there. So for me, first resistance, 35/35.5. Let's just do that. And then we'll see from there. I just delete that to make it clearer. For me, the miners, beautiful, perfect candles. We just need some follow through by gold. And we can count on silver to do the same, as long as gold is at least a little bit green. But it's about the dollar. We know yields are going to go higher. That's obviously my opinion. I think the markets will continue lower. I don't think it really upsets gold and silver. You can see they had a green day despite the market's red, but it's really about the dollar. Will markets collapse so much that gold and silver go up, the miners go up? Or do they have an impact on gold and silver? Because when people really panic, they sell everything. You cannot negate that possibility. But what about the dollar? What about the dollar? Anyway, whilst you ponder that, look at Bitcoin. That doesn't look very good, does it? And I still am of the opinion that we're going to go down 20,000 with the markets. Bitcoin never really showed too much strength during this period. 1 or 2 days where it went up when the banks went down. But today, where was it? Where was Bitcoin today with another banking weakness? Was it downgrade by S&P? The Charles Schwab stuff, the market's going down, led by the banks, and we're red again, and that's a bad candle. That's the worst close since the flush. So for me, we're going to go test 25,000. We're going to break some stops. Everyone's going to sell as the market goes down, and we go to 20,000. And then the Bitcoin chart looks really bad. We'll have a nice bounce, maybe to 24,000. I don't know. Don't care too much. It'll be like a double-headed head and shoulders. Call it what you will. Imagine something like this. And then what? Then everyone freaks out, because from 20,000 to 15,000, that can happen in like 2 or 3 days. And then everyone freaks out. But, you've probably got a real market collapse happening for that. But still, Bitcoin down. I think that's very telling. It's only down 1%, but that's with the banks being down. It should have benefited from that. And I think the Nasdaq's going to start to collapse. It does sort of depend on NVIDIA, but I think it will happen. I think this will happen. And what about the other alts? They're well on their way. Ethereum, what about Binance? It's going to lose its 200. What happens when that happens, by the way? What about the crypto miners, MicroStrategy and all that? What happens if they get liquidated? So watch out. This is something is brewing also in the crypto world. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that was useful, but really, yields NVIDIA, markets, dollar, gold, silver, Bitcoin. It's just so exciting. I don't know. For me, it's very exciting stuff. I hope you enjoy these little videos.